Hi, and welcome to the Boi Soup. My name is Jake, and this is Nick. Today we're playing MTG Arena, and Nick has offered me a challenge.
That's right. So today, what we're doing is we're each going to build a deck. It's going to be a pauper deck, which means that you can only add in common cards, I believe one of each. And we're doing mono white. So each of us are going to have to build a pauper deck using only white cards.
I will correct you there. You can. It's actually just a 60 card format deck.
Okay,
You
60
are allowed
cards.
side. You're allowed 60 cards, four of each. You're allowed a sideboard. Um, I don't know what kind of sideboarding we're going to be doing here,
It's going to be tough.
but I think it's going to be interesting. We are planning, from what I've been told, we are planning on holding a tournament with these decks. But today we're just going to be kind of going through building the decks, doing a little bit of deck teching, and talking about general deck building ideas and like what you're kind of looking for in a deck. So we are doing this in historic, not standard. So we have access to all the sets that are on MTG Arena.
And we are reducing ourselves to common cards only, which is, I think that's where the real challenge is that there's such a reduced pool that you can pull from.
So from just scrolling a little bit, I'm seeing a like all star staple, Healer's Hawk, 1/1 flyer. Ooh, looks like I'm having a little bit of fun here. But 1/1 flyer evasion is going to be huge in this. Looks like we're having a little bit of fun issues here, but we'll get through them.
That's strange.
Very strange, but you know what? We'll get through it.
It's fine.
All right.
Completely on
So
purpose.
we know that we have a good one drop for us, but a big thing we're going to be looking for in this is removal. And how we're going to find that removal is going to be kind of a problem because we don't have any options. Recently, this is actually a new card from Midnight Hunt. It's an okay removal that you can effectively pay for if you have Coven to exile a creature. I think that's a little bit too limited for us for what we're trying to do, even though 1 mana pacifism is pretty good.
It's nice. It's probably not likely to hit that coven cost.
No. So I'm thinking if I remember correctly, just disregard our little friend hanging out right here. If I remember correctly, Impassioned Orator, which is a staple card in a lot of life game based decks, based around like Hallowed Priest and stuff like that, is common.
Yes, I do believe though that Hallowed Priest is uncommon.
Yes, but if I
I'm
remember
mistaken.
correctly, there was a card printed recently that is at the 4-drop slot. Oh, it's 3-drop.
Yep,
So that's a
Celestial
unicorn. So a big common deck that I usually recommend, like you'll see a lot of people playing on MTG Arena early on, is a deck that's sort of like this, playing cards that gain them life whenever they enter the battlefield, or like Healer's Hawk 1-drops that are gaining you life, have evasion, can even be blockers, to make these creatures big so you can swing in later. Though since we're in mono white, that gives us a little bit less of great options.
Yeah.
Especially considering we're not going to have great card draw. I'm seeing a pretty decent removal spell. Removal. This is it can deal with a creature here in Nahiri's Binding. I'm thinking, while planeswalkers aren't going to be an issue, I think that's a very solid pick for us. Minimus Containment is also pretty solid right now, but even though it does ramp our opponent, sometimes, especially late game, we're not going to care. Okay. Omen of the Sun, I think, is pretty solid here. Now, we've kind of gotten like our basic like curve started, but I do think like Bazer's Alkalite's going to be great, but we need to start looking at what our top end's going to look like, because like we need cards that are rather scaling up or do something whenever we play them. Prowling Felidar is a pretty solid pick. I remember right, Sarah Angel is a 5-drop. Is it not common? Is it uncommon? Or did I miss it?
It might not be common.
Apparently. It may not be common. I may be wrong. So, white is not known for having terribly great creatures. I will take a Secure the Scene, though. So, what cards on this screen are we going to be looking for? That are we need cards that are going to finish the game out for us. So creatures that we can pay a pretty decent amount of mana and they swing pretty hard.
That's tough with white because
very tough with white.
White, you tend to have more blocker type, heavy, hard to beat, but not necessarily gonna do tons of damage.
We can kind of go an opposite direction here and keep our our mid and low end for what like our finishers as they scale up, because that may be our only options.
Mm-hmm.
Our biggest benefit here is knowing mostly what our opponents are going to have. Daybreak Chimera seems nice, even though we only have one, but I am not impartial to running it. A 2-drop 3/3 is pretty solid in this deck. We could run Parhelion Patrol. It's not terribly strong, but the fact that it can grow our healers, hawks, and stuff like that is very, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll run 2. So our curve is looking pretty okay, but I do think we want to have a little bit more of our early game. Let me see. Do we get Revitalize? Yes. Revitalize is a little bit of sustain. It's a little bit. It's card draw. It's basically we're paying 2 mana to have 1 less card in our deck at that time. What else can we run? I think we're also we will. I think in agreement we will also be building sideboards, because I think that will actually be kind of important for because I mean white has a lot of white's removal. I mean almost all the removal I think we have is enchantment based.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the fact that white is pretty good at removing enchantments will end up being pretty strong here. Probably go into the third or fourth intro. So we have a pretty nice mana curve right here. Now we're going to start working on our sideboard. So we want early game ways to interact here. Something like cheap, easy, effective, something that we wouldn't normally run in the deck. Light of the Hope is going to be great because it's modal. So if we're playing against a deck that is maybe going a bit faster than us, maybe making bigger creatures than us, we have ways to gain life, make our creatures bigger, but also get rid of the removal that they're also probably running.
Do you mean to throw a Ranger's Hawk in there?
Did I? Did not. Just the fact that we're missing cards every now and then again is probably not helping.
True. Then again,
Candle
all
Trap
the more
is
advantage
nice.
for me.
Candle Trap is nice. It does. It's slightly weaker than Pacifism. I know I did compare it to Pacifism, but the fact that the creature can still block can be huge for them, even though it's not going to be killing anything. Whenever we don't really have many ways, we have flying, but we don't have really many ways to make our lower on the ground creatures do much. So we need to. We could probably start running. I think we just run like enchantment removal, like as our sideboard. Indestructible is not going to be terribly great in here. I mean, it makes good for good blockers, but I mean, since we're not dealing with a lot of just straight up hard removal, I think Core of Disenchant does not hurt. Dawnbringer Cleric can actually be pretty huge here because it's basically a Light of the Hope in somewhat form and faction, but it gives us a 1/3 body for 2, which 2 for winning an opponent can just be massive for us. We will run maybe they're again if they're going faster than us, we run passivism just to keep us safe, make sure they can't do anything.
True.
Sure, they can also be running removal, but 2 mana against probably their 2 1 mana removal seems pretty fair. We're also going to run a Take Vengeance.
Not bad, not bad.
And I think that is solid for the deck right now.
Yeah.
We have a very basic deck plan. I like
Hey,
how we ramp
Pin
up.
Squirrel.
Also Trent's here.
I
Hey,
did not-
Trent.
Oh, y'all recording.
I did not know that he joined.
He did.
Howdy.
I think he's also very loud.
Slightly
Interwebs.
loud. Yes, this is true.
But I think that's the basic deck idea.
It's not far off from what I planned. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I think we're going to any deck we see is going to be very similar to this. But I think I think that means it comes down to how you play, how you spread out your cards, and
I'm going to be
skill
adding.
the player.
I'm going to be adding quality content and feedback on game-to-game replay this endeavor.
Very well.
Well, we have Trent now. We have a
Nothing
judge.
that I said nothing that I said just made fucking sense because I can't speak like a normal person. But
I'm sure that's
You also
fine.
do sound kind of robotic-y, but fuck it. Who cares? at
It'd
this
be
point?
okay.
wait, I sound robotic?
Slightly. You're also
Ever
very
so
loud. Did
slightly.
you get a new mic? Did you get a new mic,
No.
buddy?
No, it's the same mic.
I turned you to 100, and you still sound like...
I'm
Person.
still talking in the potato.
It's very.
I've pretty
loud.
much got two potatoes on my ears and French fries the mic.
That is wonderful. So now that Jacob's deck has been built, give me a moment to swap the scene, and we will be right back for my deck. All right, now we are in my screen, looking at building a deck. Let's go ahead and pop into starting a deck plan.
And
Let me quickly.
He didn't say anything about soup.
Don't worry about soup. Sharing
There
my
we go.
screen. Yeah, there we go. Let me. It's just gonna have a screen there, but that's fine. All right, so we're going into historic, and we need to filter out common. And so my plan is a lot of the same stuff. So starting out, I'm gonna toss some Light of Hope in there because it's just a good card. It's a good plan.
So you're
It's-
deciding you're running it main board this time.
I'm running it main board, yes.
Which I think
because
is a fine choice because it has that flexibility.
We're gonna throw some Impassioned Orders in there. I only have 3. I'm gonna create one more because there's no reason not to have one more. And I'm gonna throw one more in there. So I think that am I really already into
No, go
No,
ahead.
it's just
click
cycled
craft.
again.
Click craft. You can click craft or just click anything and it will reset it.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So that's a lot better. So I'm thinking a lot's the same way. I only have 1 Celestial Unicorn and no more common cards. So we're gonna build around that from now. I think that the best way for me to be able to do this and make any kind of worth something is to throw in Cleric class. Because Cleric class... Oh, is Cleric class...
It's uncommon.
It's uncommon. It's uncommon. That was my other plan was to add 1/1 counters every time I healed. But
Well, it looks like you're gonna have to go up with a backup plan. We're looking.
Yes, that is very true.
So a big thing for you, again, removal, evasion, like these are your big things. But what's your late game is going to look different than my late game.
It for sure because I have less available to me. So I have cycling, and I think foretelling this guy
I mean, that's not terrible.
It's best for me. Don't have much else that I can run.
I mean, him being also, I think I don't think it hurts you to run the big dinosaur. To be
Honestly,
completely honest,
probably not.
because I mean, his cycling. I mean, even if you can't cast him, he's kind of a dead card in your hand.
I'm gonna throw Bosri's Acolyte as well because
Solid card.
just solid drop with.
I'm thinking.
lifelink.
I'm thinking Wandering Strike for you as well. I mean, I actually didn't. Even, I don't even think I have that card to be completely honest. But
Yeah,
that seems very solid for you. I mean,
solid.
especially combined with like Basri's Lieutenant and your Unicorn, like that would have actually been very, very solid. And I wish I would have thought of that.
I think I've got to throw. So I need some 3-drops in here. I think maybe throwing in this makeshift Battalion. Battalion? I don't know how to pronounce that, but
Battalion.
Yeah, probably. But don't worry. But as long as I can throw creatures on the battlefield, I can pretty easily bump him up as long as I swing 3. I'm gonna go. Here he's binding, and I think I'm gonna throw both of those in there. And then, so my curve is kind of lacking in early and then late. So let's go.
I mean, I'm thinking pacifism is going to be really big for you, just in the fact that it's a 2-drop, basically removal. In considering we don't have any options. I mean, normally I don't recommend it, but Charm Stray actually doesn't seem horrible.
And the reason why is that I think there's less options in here. I think that I could probably hit it. And it gives me cheap bodies that I could throw out that would help raise makeshift. So,
I mean, you could probably even run, I think that's a 1-2 with First Strike. I mean, that's not terrible. I think, honestly, I'd rather prefer Healer's Hawk, but I mean, just having more 1-drop bodies, especially ones that can get through, can be kind of huge.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about Battlefield?
Mm-hmm. It's a maybe for me.
Flying First Strike 1-2. Honestly, it's effectively a 2-2 with First Strike. So, with First Strike causing it.
Well, it's more effectively a 1-2 with First Strike because I think you're thinking of Double Strike because again, it only deals damage once.
Oh yeah, I think I understand that. Okay. Anyway, so we need to find some more 4 and 5 drops because the curve is looking rather off at the moment.
The 5-drop Ox doesn't seem actually terrible now that I'm looking at it. I actually was looking at it for my deck.
Mm-hmm.
You get that with a land drop. I mean, that gets a blocker out of the way.
True.
And it's a 4/4 body, which is not great. It doesn't really pass the vanilla test, but it doesn't terribly fail it.
Yeah, it's 5-drop 4/4, and it has ways to tap and get other creatures out of the way for a moment. So it's really not terrible. So play this card for 4, draw a card, and cost 1 less, so I can play him at the end of the turn, save, and draw a card. I think that's a way to go, especially because playing makeshift, I'm going to be wanting to swing pretty regularly.
I mean, playing a creature, then potentially getting another creature on the field, like to fill your hand, also doesn't seem terrible.
I think Gavany Silversmith fills that a little bit too, in that he's putting 1/1s on up to 2.
I mean, he's basically a Basri's Lieutenant. Like,
I think at this point, a little bit more removal, so we're going back to the pacifisms. I'm going to throw 4 of those. Honestly, I think a 2-drop 2/2 with life gain isn't bad here. I think 2 of those helps me get something in there.
Because from what I'm looking at, you're just trying to flood your board with bodies right now.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm honestly looking at more land because he's also a 2-drop 2/2, but you can give him First Strike.
We're also looking at one of the biggest weaknesses of white right here in the fact that we want card draw right now, but we just don't have much to work with.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky to have the revitalizers and stuff like that. Which are still terribly not that great.
I think
Finksing Ace actually doesn't seem terrible.
I think it's not a bad body to get in the way.
I mean, it's effectively a 2/1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 3 cards left. I think. I think that's not terrible, but it's not wonderful. I think we're going with some return. I think that exiling tapped creature, and I think 1 destroy in the main board. Actually, no. What I'm going to do is Legion's Judgment. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to put the last Expel main board. Sideboard, I'm going to put Judgment. I'm going to do some Revoke Privileges. Some Barrage. I'm going to get rid of an artifact in here. Blade Banish isn't bad. There's not a ton of...
I mean, I think you're absolutely open to actually, because we didn't have it discussed this, we could run artifacts, though it could go against the heart of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I think staying in the heart of just straight up white.
Because recently, because genuinely, if we were going through, like, we could do white and colorless,
Mhm.
I would probably prefer to actually just build, like, mostly a colorless deck that splashes white for some kind of, like, basic removal and life gain.
Yeah.
Because there are some pretty strong cards in colorless. Especially since we recently got like a bunch of the colorless lesson cards, because we get straight up removal, like a 5-drop removal spell. You get some decently sized creatures that can grow. You get a way to search for lands to put them into your hand, like something white can't really do. Except with stuff like they've kind of given it some support, but they've kind of white's just not a terribly. It's a great support color, but
yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this instant in because it's not awful. It's a 1-drop. I'm able to add 1+1/+3. I'm probably not going to use the make a retreat feature a lot, but
so
I think
that's your sideboard,
and I think that's my deck done. So let's go with just.
Wait, you are doing sideboards?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And only thing left to do is to battle it out.
So, I mean, I think we're going to take a little break here, and then when we come back, I think we're going to do. And just for a little heads up, this isn't for the bracket yet. This is just doing some test games, testing the format, testing the waters, seeing what it's going to play like. So today you're going to watch me beat Nik for fun. I mean, this is what you get for playing mono white. This is what you get for choosing mono white. Look, tomato. So that's semantics. I just come in and playing I'm playing a mono black control deck or something like that. It's my competitive deck. I mean, so I actually have solid 1-drops in here, so I think I'm okay with going in the play here. These are hands. These are absolutely hands. You're already fucking cheating. Oh my god. How can I beat that? I mean, if you have a second one, I'm fucked. I really like Omen of the Sun in this deck because of the fact that it's making bodies, and it also gives me the ability to like kind of scry, which while I can't draw more cards, I can at least affect the quality of what I'm drawing. Because considering those were 2 planes on the top of my library, that probably was not very great. It's not an activated ability. That's a triggered ability. Wow, so there were 3 planes on the top of my library because we just drew one. That makeshift battalion is going to get kind of scary. I think makeshift battalion might end up being just like, oh, okay, okie dokie. For sure, for sure. Just put something in, right? This has gotten technically a lot better for me. That's scary. Well, shit. Yeah, I will. Because it's another separate creature. So we're definitely doing this. Wait, shit. I just fucked myself. Drawing land here is not great, and not drawing removal for the Celestial uniform is also not great. This works out. I was thinking you were going to swing with it. Hey, let's not top deck a land. Now your top air here can be very frustrating, but I think it worked out. I probably should have taken out the pacifism on my Parhelion patrol, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, got me here. I made a pretty massive misplay there. Well, I only have one. Oh, you made it. You had me dead to rights there. Ah, it worked out anyway for you. Because lands I do draw. We're just gonna run it like this. Ah. No, that was in my hand. That was the whole reason I kept this hand. The Impassion Order was the draw. combo pretty well. Please eat this bus. Ah. Not having access to board wipes here is kind of fucking big. And that's why we're doing this test round to see if like this will be a good like tournament, like good for a tournament. Two, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. And that gives me some protection from you, like casting like a Light of Hope. You have to block through Celestial Unicorn here. I probably should just swing the healer's hawk too, but I'm probably playing a little bit too safe whenever you're at 4. Got you here. Shows the benefit of the Omen though, son. Just it, like me getting that. I'm just running it back, to be completely honest. I could have even cut lands there. I think we could adjust the challenge to where it's monocolored common. Give a little bit more deck variety in there. Um, though I think something interesting we could do though is that your opponent, like we each get like one of our opponents picks the color we build. This is a hand that does do things. We'll try it. It doth do begin. Okay, this gives me action options. A bit risky of a play here, but I do smell a lot of poke bait here, but I'm fine with taking that risk. I'm thinking that you built a very solid early game kind of threat there, and I'm just not going to be able to keep up. It's really dependent on what I draw right here. Battlefield Raptor is getting kind of out of hand for me right now. Def this. Hope you don't have any responses. Oh yeah, that worked out pretty well for us. Hmm. Hmm. That was very uncash money of you. Got a bistro. I also got a Jakey. Hello.
私は名前は
We are currently recording the first official video for our new YouTube channel, Boi Soup Central.
Oh, I see. Well, hey, welcome to Boi Soup Central. I hope you enjoy your stay. Have a nice scotch. I'll see you on the flip side.
Beautiful, sexy. You got your camera set up there, Bistro?
Huh?
You got a new camera set up there? It's like I'm not looking like into your beard.
I repositioned it. I finally
See
got
more
my
of his beautiful
monitors.
face.
My monitor. This one's a little shorter than my previous curved one that Brooke's now using, and so I was actually able to put it on top without absolutely ganking my setup.
You're so fucked. Yeah, I definitely think for the actual tournament we need to do it mono Pauper in your opponent picture color.
So Jacob.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, I'm so excited for whenever we actually get to play Nick's campaign, because I got a time wizard set up. It's a very human with the lucky feet.
Oh god. But
He's a wizard of the divination school.
Doug Divination School?
You see two.
Divination.
So
All
I
right.
roll 2 dice at the end of every long rest, and I get to keep those dice and replace somebody's roll at any point during the day.
Really quick, before we get into that too far, that has been building Magic decks and having fun. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this, and make sure to comment types of ideas for what types of deck plans we can do. We plan on doing a big tournament, Pauper style, different colors.
Mono red burn.
But that being said, that's the video.
Here.
Hope you guys enjoy.
Again, like last time, fuck you. Don't subscribe.
Yeah.
You better not fucking comment unless it's like, you know the video, you should make more. Fuck you.
YouTube algorithm says you can say bitch now. You're welcome.
Nice. All right.
Well,
See you guys
bitches,
later.
I hate you.